Egypt is a nation in Africa's northeastern corner, currently home to around 107 million people. Many of us know Egypt for the pyramids and the Nile River, but it's not only that. It's one of the major civilizations of planet Earth. Early Egyptian civilization was based in Egypt's heartland, the Nile River Valley, and the Delta. Like Mesopotamia further east, it was one of the world's first urban and literate societies. Few civilizations have produced as many remarkable artifacts and structures as ancient Egypt. Since the first excavation of the sand from the Great Sphinx, ancient Egypt has captured people's attention. Archaeologists and historians have been obsessed with it for the past 200 years. Some of the greatest finds from history are still hidden in Egypt's dunes, waiting to be discovered. Here, we provide a glimpse inside some of them, so that you can enjoy seeing both well-known and lesser-known Egyptian artifacts, and learning the interesting tales that surround them. Let me tell you about the Sphinx of Israel first. A 4,000-year-old Egyptian Sphinx was discovered in 2013 in Tel Hazor, Israel. Which was a surprising finding for the experts. They never imagined finding such a thing so far away from Egypt. They discovered the statue's paws were perched on a base. It is thought that the remainder was purposefully destroyed thousands of years ago. However, it would have stood 1 meter, 3.3 feet, tall, and weighed half a ton, until someone knocked it over. Nobody is aware of the purpose of an Egyptian statue in Israel. An inscription on the base, with the name, King Mycerinus, a pharaoh, who ruled over Egypt approximately 2500 BC, is the only piece of information still present. It's extremely doubtful that the Egyptians conquered Tel Hazor. Tel Hazor was a major commerce center in Canaan under the reign of Mycerinus, also known as Menkaure, situated between Egypt and Babylon. It was essential to the financial health of two of the region's most powerful nations. It was most likely a gift, in our opinion. However, if it was a gift, it's unclear why King Mycerinus gave it as a gift, or why anyone became furious enough to break it. All that is truly certain is for some reason, somebody built a Sphinx 1,000 kilometers away from the Great Sphinx of Giza. Next mystery is hidden chamber of Great Pyramids. The biggest pyramid was constructed 4,500 years ago by Pharaoh Khufu. It is a huge building that is nearly 150 meters, 490 feet, tall, and was constructed using more than 2.3 million stone pieces. Yet, until recently, it appeared as though there were just 3 chambers inside. You're not alone if you think that's a lot of empty space. In 2017, particle physics allowed researchers to take their first inside look at the Great Pyramid. Their discoveries revealed an unanticipated underground universe full of hidden chambers and rooms. The largest find may have been a huge void that was found right above the pyramid's Great Gallery, and measured about 100 feet in length. A smaller gap was also discovered, just past the building's north front. But what is contained within these 2 gaps? This riddle has not yet been solved by scientists. The odd thing is that the Egyptians purposefully made the hidden chamber inaccessible. There are no connecting passageways or corridors. They could only have filled the room with something while they were constructing the pyramid, and then sealed it later. The subterranean chamber inside has yet to be revealed. However, Pharaoh Khufu certainly did not want whatever was inside to ever be brought to light. The next interesting mystery is the dandera light. Unusual imagery is depicted in a large relief on the temple wall in Dandera, Egypt. According to the common interpretation, it shows a snake emerging from a lotus blossom, while being supported by a pillar with human arms. It's not strange just because the pillar has arms, but because the entire image is strange. It just looks like a model of a Crookes tube, an early light bulb, developed in the 19th century. In fact, it resembles a light bulb so well that some people believe it to be a blueprint for building one. The only room in the entire temple, without fire-burning lights, was the one that displays the dandera light. According to the residue, discovered by archaeologists, Egyptians burnt lamps in every other area of the building. How did they see anything, if they didn't have an early model of a light bulb stowed in here? Why did they bother to hang such a complex painting on the wall, if the space was completely dark? We don't know the reason. Let's talk about the lost labyrinth of Egypt as the next mystery. It's 2,500 years old, gigantic labyrinth, surpassed even the pyramids, according to one who saw it. It was a huge structure with 2 levels. There were an astounding 3,000 separate rooms inside, all connected by a complex network of winding corridors that no one could navigate without assistance. King's tombs, like underground chambers, were located at the bottom, while a large roof built of a single enormous stone was present at the top. Many ancient writers described having seen it, but 2,500 years later, we still aren't sure where it is. The closest thing we found is a large stone platform that's 300 meters wide, which some people think was once the labyrinth's base. If it is, the top stories have been utterly lost to time. A team of geo-radar experts surveyed the plateau in 2008 and discovered what appeared to be a subterranean labyrinth that resembles the one described by ancient scribes. However, no one has ever dug it up or gone inside before. We won't know for sure whether we've discovered Egypt's greatest archaeological wonder until someone makes it into the labyrinth. Next story is about the unknown queen in Egypt. In the year 2015, archaeologists discovered a woman's tomb that had been hidden among the massive Old Kingdom of pyramids. Inscriptions at her tomb referred to her as both the mother of the king and the wife of the king. When this woman was alive 4,500 years ago, she would have been one of the most significant individuals on the planet. She would have become the most influential lady in the country. Furthermore, no one is aware of who she is. She was given the name Khentakaus III by historians, who believed she was the daughter of Queen Khentakaus II. They assume that she was Pharaoh Nefertiti's wife, and the mother of Pharaoh Menkaure, although they are unsure. They are only speculations. Whatever she was once a woman of immense power, but she is now little more than an enigma. Next, let's talk about the mysterious death of King Tut. King Tutankhamun passed away at the age of 19, and the precise details of his death are unknown. Not because he was in his prime, but rather because his death is a complete mystery. Tut had so many problems that it's difficult to determine which one caused his death, which is why his passing is so mysterious. King Tut's health was terrible. His parents must have been siblings, according to historians, because he was born with so many hereditary abnormalities, and also had malaria. He had a clubfoot, and genetic flaws, which some people think may have made his demise inevitable. Additionally, he had a shattered skull, which archaeologists long assumed he had been stabbed in the head. But now they assume his head was just broken during the embalming process. The possibility that he was murdered has not been completely discounted. He also suffered a knee injury just before passing away, which could be from a chariot accident. But even if he was boarding the chariot in the first place, was an odd choice. Tut was unable to even stand alone due to his extreme deformity. It could have been anything, or a variety of things affected him at once. The only thing we can be certain of is that King Tut didn't receive many encouraging events during his final months on Earth. Mummy wrapped in a foreign book is the next mystery. An ancient Egyptian mummy was purchased by a guy from an Alexandrian merchant in 1848. He displayed it as a decoration for years without recognizing what a peculiar antique he had. But a few decades later, when the doctors removed her bandages, they discovered something really strange. The book's linen pages had been used to wrap the mummy, although it wasn't written in Egyptian. It took years of research to determine what language it was, but today we know that it is written in Etruscan, the ancient tongue of a people who formerly inhabited what is now Italy. We don't have much knowledge of this language. The longest Etruscan text we've ever found is surrounded by this mummy. But there are still a lot of unsolved questions. One is that we are still unsure of what the text actually says. We can only make guesses of what it means, or why anyone would wrap it around a dead body, because we only understand a few words, which appear to be dates and the names of gods. Most importantly, we don't know why an Etruscan book was found in Egypt wrapped around a mummy. She seemed Etruscan. If so, then why was she in Egypt? What else did she include in her final message to everyone? Next mystery is about the lost land of Punt. Punt is a location that appears frequently in literature from ancient Egypt. The Egyptians were fascinated by this ancient African empire, which included gold, ivory, and exotic creatures. And it had been really powerful. It was a location that the Egyptians cherished and referred to as God's land. There is no denying Punt's existence. It is frequently mentioned in prehistoric texts. Even a statue of the Punti Queen exists in an Egyptian temple. However, despite how significant and potent this location must have been, we have never discovered it. The only traces we have of Punt are the artifacts the Egyptians kept. Scientists desperate to figure out where this kingdom was, studied the mummified remains of 2 baboons that the Egyptians got from Punt, and determined that the baboons, at least, had come from the area of modern-day Eritrea, or eastern Ethiopia. This, at least, gives us a starting point in the hunt to find Punt, but it's a huge area for an archaeological search. And if we ever do find the ruins of the kingdom of Punt, it'll open up a whole new series of mysteries to solve to uncover our past. The next interesting story is about the destroyed pyramid. The highest peak of pyramids in Egypt should be on the Pyramid of Djedefre. It's confirmed it has to be. Djedefre found a clever way to ensure that the tip of his tomb stood slightly taller than everyone else's. On a hill, he constructed it. But, for some reason, only Djedefre's pyramid has been completely destroyed, while all the other Egyptian pyramids are still intact after thousands of years. The base is all that is left. There are theories about what has happened, but nobody is exactly certain. Some believe that Djedefre just passed away before they could complete much of the work, leaving his pyramid in ruins. Others believe that, 2,000 years ago, Romans demolished a significant historical structure in order to quarry the area for the stones. And still, others think that the people of Egypt just really hated Djedefre so much, so that they were willing to pull apart an entire pyramid, just out of anger. The disappearance of Queen Nefertiti is the last mystery of Egypt I'm going to tell you for the day. One of the few women to govern over Egypt, Queen Nefertiti is legendary. She is thought to have taken control of Egypt and governed in her own right. She was the wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten, and most likely the mother of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. However, Nefertiti's final resting place has never been discovered, despite the fact that other pharaohs' tombs can still be seen, dotting Egypt today. Her tomb has been sought after for many years. Archaeologists were almost certain they had discovered her grave in a hidden room within King Tut's tomb, up until the year 2018. But when they carefully examined the wall in May, they discovered that nothing was there. Curiously, neither Egyptian nor Western history makes any reference to her death. The last mention of her name was in the 12th year of her husband Akhenaten's rule. Some believe that she changed her name and became the pharaoh. However, not everyone's sure about that. Some people believe that the solution to this question is little less interesting than we might wish. In Dr. Joyce T. Deasley's opinion, is simply that Nefertiti was never a pharaoh at all. Dr. T. Deasley believes that the reason why Nefertiti received so much attention in the 1920s was that a sculpture of her face gained popularity at the time, and people simply wanted her to be popular enough to believe it. Archaeologists continue to make significant finds, and research on royal mummies is explaining the pharaoh's ancestry in unexpected ways. Numerous concerns regarding the development of Egyptian civilization are being addressed by the continued translation of ancient writings and research. The pharaonic religion suggests that the Egyptians were concerned with death, and there are many signs that they were joyful people who knew how to appreciate life. If you know of any other ancient mysteries of Egypt, drop them down in the comment section. I wish you a joyful day. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing, which means a lot to me. I love to see your thoughts in the comment section.